Dear English learners, imagine standing on a stage. Bright lights blind your eyes. The crowd is cheering for you. You hold a trophy in your hands. It is your dream come true. And then, in one shocking moment, someone runs to you, takes away your microphone, and steals your voice. The world gasps. Cameras capture every second. You feel powerless and humiliated. This is not a scene from a movie. It happened to a teenage girl in real life. Her name is Taylor Swift. Today, she is one of the most powerful women in music, but her journey was not a simple climb to glory. It was a road filled with rejection, betrayal, and moments of deep shame. Yet, through it all, she discovered her strength. In 2009, the world saw her first MTV Award moment turn into a nightmare. It was supposed to be her victory, but it became her humiliation. The story of that night, and what came after, is not just about music or celebrity. It is about the human spirit. What do you do when someone tries to silence you? Do you give up? Or do you rise louder than ever? Today, let us enter the journey of Taylor Swift, the girl whose voice was stolen and the woman who took it back. Before that night of chaos, Taylor Swift was just a girl with big dreams. Born in Pennsylvania in 1989, she spent her childhood writing poems, strumming her guitar, and singing at local fairs. At 14, her family moved to Nashville so she could chase her dream of country music. Many doors closed in her face. Record labels told her she was too young. Radio stations said her style was not ready. But Taylor kept writing. She believed that her songs could tell stories people needed to hear. By 2008, she had become one of the brightest young stars in country music. Her second album, Fearless, made her famous. Songs like Love Story and You Belong With Me turned her into a voice for young fans around the world. At 19, she stood at the edge of greatness. That year, she received a nomination for Best Female Video at the MTV Video Music Awards. It was more than just an award. It was proof that her dream had been worth the struggle. Or so she thought. September 13th, 2009. Radio City Music Hall in New York City. The MTV Video Music Awards filled with celebrities flashing cameras and millions of viewers watching live. Taylor Swift sat nervously in the audience, her heart pounding. She was the youngest artist nominated in her category. When her name was announced as the winner for You Belong With Me, she stood up in shock. The crowd cheered. She walked onto the stage, clutching her Silver Moon Man trophy. For a teenager who once sang in small-town fairs, this was the dream she had been waiting for. She began to speak. Her smile was shy. Her voice trembled as she thanked her fans and family. But before she could finish, a figure rushed onto the stage. Kanye West, one of the most famous rappers in the world, grabbed the microphone from her hands. "I'ma let you finish," he declared, but Beyoncé had one of the best videos of all time. Gasps filled the hall. Some booed, some laughed. Taylor stood frozen. Her mouth stayed open, but no words came out. The spotlight burned on her, but she felt invisible. Millions at home watched her humiliation unfold live. Security led Kanye off the stage, and Taylor was left standing silent, holding her award. The moment that should have been her triumph had been stolen. Later, she confessed she felt small, powerless, and ashamed. At just 19, she had become the face of public humiliation. That night, she walked backstage, not as a winner, but as a teenager who had been silenced in front of the entire world. The morning after the incident was everywhere. Newspapers printed photos of Taylor's shocked face. Television shows replayed the clip again and again. Social media buzzed with arguments. Some mocked Taylor. Others defended her, and many turned her pain into jokes. For Taylor, the humiliation felt endless. She had won the award, but it did not feel like victory. She tried to smile in interviews, but her eyes showed the pain. The stage that had once been a dream now carried the memory of shame. She wondered if she truly deserved her success. Doubt crept in. Was her music good enough? Or had she just been in the wrong place at the wrong time? Kanye West also faced consequences. He was heavily criticized by the media and booed at later events. Even President Barack Obama famously called his act rude. But for Taylor, the wound cut deeper than public opinion. The moment had stolen her joy and confidence, yet kindness also emerged. Beyoncé, the very artist Kanye had praised, invited Taylor back to the stage later that night to finish her speech. That gesture reminded the world and Taylor that dignity could still be restored. Still, the scar remained. For months, Taylor carried the weight of that night. Every article seemed to mention it. Every conversation brought it up. She could not escape the memory. But deep inside, the fire of a songwriter was still alive. Slowly, she began to prepare her answer. Not in interviews, not in anger, but in music. Taylor returned to the studio, determined to transform her pain. She poured her emotions into lyrics and melodies. She turned shame into rhythm, humiliation into poetry. Her music began to evolve. She was no longer just a sweet country singer. She was shaping herself into something stronger. In 2014, she released 1989, her first pop album. It was bold, colorful, and unapologetic. With songs like Shake It Off and Blank Space, she declared to the world that she would not be broken. Shake It Off became more than just a catchy song. It was a message she would not let critics or humiliation define her. The album was a global triumph. It sold millions of copies, won the Grammy for Album of the Year, and established Taylor as one of the most powerful voices in music. Stadiums filled with fans sang her words back to her. The girl who once stood speechless on a stage now commanded arenas across the globe. Looking back, Taylor admitted the VMA moment shaped her. It taught her how it felt to be silenced, but it also taught her to fight back. What had been her most painful night became the foundation of her greatest victory. The story did not end in 2009. For years, the shadow of that night followed both Taylor and Kanye. At first, Kanye apologized, and Taylor seemed ready to forgive. Photos showed them smiling at later award shows. But beneath the smiles, the scar was still there. In 2016, the conflict exploded again. Kanye released the song Famous, claiming he had made Taylor famous and using insulting words about her. The music video added fuel to the fire, showing a naked wax figure of Taylor without her permission. The humiliation returned this time not on one stage, but across the internet. Kim Kardashian, Kanye's wife at the time, released edited phone recordings that made Taylor look dishonest. Millions attacked her online. The hashtag #TaylorSwiftIsOverParty trended worldwide. For a moment, it seemed history was repeating itself. The world was laughing at her again. But Taylor had changed. she did not collapse as she had in 2009. Instead, she withdrew, wrote, and planned her comeback. In 2017, she released Reputation, an album born from anger, betrayal, and resilience. She turned scandal into survival. Her fans, millions across the world, stood by her, louder than the hate. Meanwhile, Kanye's career and reputation began to fade. His outbursts, controversies, and personal struggles pushed many people away. The man who once stole Taylor's spotlight slowly lost his own. Taylor Swift continued to rise higher. She fought a battle over her music masters, and when she lost ownership of her old recordings, she chose an extraordinary solution, re-recording her entire catalogue as Taylor's version. With this move, she reclaimed her art and proved her control over her legacy. By 2023-2024, her Eras Tour became a historic cultural and economic phenomenon. Cities filled with fans. Economists even spoke of the Taylor Swift effect on local economies. From the humiliation of a stolen microphone, she had grown into a global powerhouse whose influence stretched far beyond music. As for Kanye, his reputation continued to unravel. Once a giant, he faced criticism for political outbursts, offensive remarks, and erratic behavior. The world that once cheered for him began to step back, and Taylor. She turned pain into strength, scandal into survival, and humiliation into legacy. She was no longer the teenager silenced on stage. She was the woman whose songs will echo for generations. The story that began with a stolen microphone ended with a truth the world could not ignore. Taylor Swift was never silenced. She had the final word, not in interviews, not in arguments, but in music that carried her voice louder than ever before.